Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another MedFit Education Foundation webinar. Today's a little bit of a different webinar for you. We have our founder and CEO, Lisa Dougherty, with us, and our topic is medical fitness. Why is it more important than ever before? This is going to be a little bit more conversational than our webinars typically are. I'll ask her a few questions to get us rolling. Then we're going to rely on you to ask her anything you would like to know right away. So we'll get to your questions fairly early on. We'll have a brief discussion of how she got to be where she is and do what she's doing, and then we will sort of let you follow up from there with Q&A that is of interest to you in the space of medical fitness. As with all of our webinars, you'll be muted during the broadcast, and you will also have an opportunity to ask those questions via the questions panel. Just type them in there, and then I'll deliver them to Lisa. And you'll also have an opportunity to watch the replay. The link will go out to you several hours after the conclusion of today's webinar. And first, let's give a shout out to our sponsor for this session, which is Ensure Fitness Group. So our sponsor, Ensure Fitness Group, wants you to protect your passion. They're a trusted leader in liability insurance for fitness professionals. Even the most experienced trainers can face unexpected accidents, from minor trip and fall incidents to serious client injuries that could lead to costly lawsuits. And with $3 million in annual coverage for as little as 43 cents a day, you can train with total peace of mind knowing Ensure Fitness has your back. Right now, you can save $30 and get full coverage for just $159 a year, which is a small price to pay to protect your career. You can see the information there at the bottom of the screen. Just go to insurefitnessgroup.com, MedFit 2025, or you can use the QR code if you're on your computer and you have your device handy. You can just use that QR code with your camera app on your phone there and take advantage of that. And so now let's meet Lisa virtually, and then we'll have an opportunity to let you meet her in person if you haven't done so before. Oh, and again, I'm Jonathan, your host, but most of you that are on the webinars know that I almost forgot to introduce myself. So I'll get to Lisa's bio, and then we'll get to Lisa in person. She's got 25 years of experience in the fitness industry with thousands of hours of specialty education completed for working with medical conditions, chronic diseases, and seniors. She founded the MedFit Network in 2013, a professional membership organization for fitness professionals and a free resource for the community to find medical fitness professionals in their area. She established the MedFit Education Foundation in 2017, a nonprofit working to elevate the quantity and quality of education for fit pros wanting to work in medical fitness. And MedFit Classroom, which is an online learning hub, offers bi-monthly webinars and over 20 plus specialty certificate courses. In 2023, she opened the MedFit Training and Education Center in Costa Mesa, California, where she and a team of medical fitness specialists offer fitness services and education to the community. And she's been recognized as an industry leader several times, including Personal Fitness Professional Magazine and the Huffington Post. And she was acknowledged by the White House as a Champion of Change finalist in 2016. Okay, so Lisa, this is your time to shine, and it's an opportunity for everyone to get to know you as well. And so let's just start us off by just give us a little more detail on why you got into fitness, but also why you decided to start MedFit Network.
Well, I had the opportunity to change careers in my early 30s. I was in the security industry for 14 years, stocks and bonds, and my dad was battling his second cancer, and I knew I wanted to help people, and maybe not with their money, but with fitness. I've always played sports. I've been very active, and the University of California, Irvine had a 2-year fitness instructor program. So I took a leap of faith and left corporate America and went back to college. And when I graduated, my goal, my passion was to come out and work with people that were going through cancer survivors. And so I opened Whole Body Fitness back before there was an internet, for those of you that remember that. And to promote it, I put flyers on car windshields and mailboxes, and it was word of mouth. I mean, that's how you did business, 25 years ago. And when I started to work with clients, people would ask me, my mom has MS, can you help her? My daughter has autism, I'm pregnant. And so I found a company. It was called DSW Fitness, and they're no longer around. But they had some specialty certificate courses on chronic disease. And because I'm an education geek, and I still am here at 61, I love to learn. I went through, I think they had like 15 programs in about 3 years. So it was a lot of education, a lot of time, but I wanted to learn as much as I could and help people. And the internet came out, and back then SEO mattered. So if you Googled, cancer and exercise or diabetes and exercise, I was like at the top of the search engines. There was no WebMD, there was no John Hopkins University. It was whole body fitness. And I was getting emails from all over the United States asking, I live in Seattle, Washington. I'm going through cancer. Do you know of anybody in Seattle, Washington? And I used to contact DSW Fitness and I would say, did you sell any cancer courses in Seattle, Washington? I have a lead for somebody. And I actually did that for several years. And I said to them, would you please tell these people to, make websites, or can you create a directory? Because no one's finding them and everyone's emailing me in the United States. And that's when I founded the MedFit Network, because I kept getting emails. So I went back to UC Irvine and I worked with the business school. It was a volunteer project, and they had to create a business plan for the MedFit Network. And when they did, I went back to the computer science department at UC Irvine, and it took them 2 years to build a database management system, so we could have a professional registry of trainers. And so when it was done, this is 2013, I started to reach out to different companies in the fitness industry, the Power Systems, PFP Magazine, uh, NASM, ISSA, and I said, hey, I'm starting a registry of trainers that have any education or services for people with chronic disease, medical conditions, because no one can find them. And
Mhm.
everyone thought, wow, what a great idea to do that. And I never did it for the money. And so the registry was free to start off. It was free to join. Everything was free, free public resource. And by 2016, my dad was battling his fourth cancer. And we grew the registry to about 30,000 professionals. And as you noted before, I was featured in the Huffington Post, Why You Should Know Me in Medical Fitness. And I think it was May of 2016, I was acknowledged by the Obama administration as a Champion of Change finalist for creating this project. And I actually got this acknowledgement a week after my dad died. And I wish it would have came a week earlier so he could have seen it, because
Mm.
he always said to me, one day you're going to be on 2020 or 60 Minutes for starting this project. And I would say, I don't want to be on TV. That's not why I did this. I just want to help people. So anyways, that's what led me to start the MedFit Network. And that's a long answer to your question.
It's okay. It's a detailed one, and that's what we want to know. Okay, so everyone, you can start dropping your questions into the panel. I've got a few more for her myself, and then we're going to let you start offering up your questions to Lisa. So I've heard you mention that you think medical fitness is a blue ocean for trainers. Why do you feel that is? And if someone's not familiar with the term blue ocean, or maybe even the term medical fitness, how would you easily describe medical fitness for someone who's maybe curious what that even means? And then why is it a blue ocean for fitness professionals?
Sure, that's a great question. Well, I'll answer the first one. What is medical fitness? So, medical fitness bridges the gap between, medicine and fitness, or physical therapy and fitness, and kind of part of the continuum. And, trainers needing to learn about medical things, surgeries, chronic diseases, in order to work with people safely and effectively. And I think in today's world, I don't know, I think 85% has chronic disease, obesity, mental health issues. Maybe that number is even greater than that. I feel the fitness industry is still trying to work with the nearly fit 15% of people and not the 85% of the people that really need us. And where did I get Blue Ocean? Well, that's from Phil Kaplan. He's someone I really respect in the fitness industry, and I think he was one of the founders of PFP magazine, along with Josh Floyd and Lindsay Webster, and very outspoken, very intelligent. And I had him speak at a few of my conferences, which we could talk about the foundation. And he always talked about the blue ocean. And it's actually a book. And it's about the the space that you can, it's the blue ocean, it's the horizon where you can do the most good, where the 15% was the shark infested waters of where you're trying to fit in, and to get the clients, the nearly fit people. And so that answers both of your questions, but the MedFit Education Foundation, when I alluded to the conferences you showed on the slide, I started that in 2017. And why I did that, and that kind of goes from the registry, is that I found that there wasn't enough educated trainers to really have a network effect in all 50 states. When I founded the network, I actually had United Healthcare, sorry, I know they're in a bad light right now, and Mayo Clinic reach out to me very curious about the MedFit network, going, wow, you have a registry of trainers that have specialty education. That's amazing. We'd love to refer patients to it. How many do you have in each state? And both are such large organizations. They wanted to see so many trainers in every SMS, standard metropolitan site, and the MedFit network did not reach their criteria to be large enough to take the load that those
Right.
organizations would refer. So that's why I started the foundation, and it was through donations from my clients. They just followed me my whole career. Were very excited about my passion in this space, and I raised a couple $100,000, started the foundation. We started doing weekly webinars. We're in our 9th year, and I'm really proud that we've been consistently doing webinars for 9 years. I mean, that's amazing. We started the medical fitness tour, and why I called it that is it was, to me, it was like a rock star tour of, here's the greatest people in the fitness industry talking about medical fitness, coming to a city near you. And we did 8 conferences in, I think, 3 years, mostly at universities. And even though we marketed to fitness professionals, I would say that probably 25% of our audience at our conferences were doctors.
Hmm.
And I was really surprised by that. And I think why that was is I think being at a university really lent to the credibility of the conference. It's a medical fitness conference at a university versus being, at the Hilton in downtown Los Angeles. So I really like being at universities. We had a lot of students attend that were in career tracks in fitness, curious about this space. So we had them as well. And we drew all kinds of allied healthcare professionals. And what everybody really liked about the conference, besides the topics and the people, is that at a round table, you as a fitness professional could have internal medicine doctor on your left, a registered dietitian on your right, a chiropractor, a student, a massage therapist, and everyone said that our conferences were the only ones that were like friendly to all professions to come together and learn, and that all of their professions had conferences, but it was for their profession. And it was
Mhm.
a great way to bring everybody together. And the end of 2019, because I'm still running my business with trainers and doing the MedFit Network and doing the not-for-profit, and I've always donated my time. Again, I didn't do this for the money. My client said, if you keep doing these conferences, and my boyfriend at the time, I'm gonna leave you and everything. And I'm like, okay, I won't do any more conferences. And it was very fortuitous because in 2020, the pandemic hit, and I had no conference scheduled. And my team at the time was like, well, what are we going to do if we're not doing conferences? So I thought, well, what are we going to do? So I wanted to recreate all that education that I took 20 years ago from DSW Fitness. And we were all stuck at home with no known ending. I didn't know when it was going to end. They were closing gyms down. In California, the police were coming to gyms and making sure we were closed. I mean, it was such a weird time. And I actually thought my personal training career was probably going to be over and that I just needed to focus on this project because I really believed in it. And so I started to reach out. You were one of the people that I called and emailed. And so 30 of you in the fitness industry that were stuck at home, that were educators, worked for NASM or ACE or ISSA. You all came together and everybody donated their time and they were assigned a specific topic. You got Alzheimer's. And some of them were really easy, like reaching out to Rick Ritchie. He has diabetes. So when I reached out to him and asked him if he wanted to author a diabetes course, he was like, wow, that's great. I would love to. And Christine Conti has, rheumatoid arthritis. David Lyons has MS. So some of them were really easy, but Alzheimer's, there's no one in the fitness industry that was going to have Alzheimer's, but you knew a lot about brain fitness. And so I asked if you'd cover Alzheimer's. And so we have 23 courses. It took us 3 years of working together. And I have a wonderful family that donated to support everybody's salaries because we had to work with everybody on the back end. And so they all donated their time. 3 years we were creating courses and launching them. It was just, I don't think any company in the fitness industry, and I don't say this with any ego at all, has launched 23 specialist certificate programs in such a short time, probably ever. And the only reason, was the pandemic, having this donation, and everybody being stuck at home and believing in this project. So that's a larger part of your answer. That's what the foundation came from.
Good. Yeah, I think you covered a lot of ground there. That's good. I think it's very interesting to see the pivots you make. Sort of it seems like if you hit an obstacle, you could stand there and complain about the obstacle, but it seems like you have a good job of finding a way forward past whatever obstacle comes up, and creating solutions out of situations that are not ideal, like not having a good network of educated professionals that can help people with medical conditions also pursue fitness, or having the pandemic bring things to a halt in one area and then starting and pivoting to another. What do you see? This is a really open-ended question, so just feel free to take this in whatever direction you want. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing medical fitness in the future? Because here's why I'm asking. When you were telling your story, I remember back when I first got certified, and I remember hearing the phrase that you're a certified personal trainer now, and you're qualified to work with apparently healthy adults. I remember even in the back of my mind, I didn't know the term medical fitness then, but I remember in the back of my mind thinking, how many apparently healthy adults am I going to get? Because most people are walking in with something going on. And it's been interesting seeing that, like, the reality is you don't get many apparently healthy adults who have no issues that you have to deal with. And even to your point, you just mentioned a number of people that have been leaders in the fitness industry that have done courses for us. We also have many chronic conditions. So it's not like fitness professionals are not humans and are not prone to some of the same chronic conditions that all humans seem to develop with age. And so what is then, given that the public is a little more aware of, if not the details of what a term like medical fitness is, I think the public for the first time in a very long time, if ever, is more open to the idea of, yeah, you know what, I might have X condition, but I still see the value in pursuing fitness. So now that the public's kind of okay with not getting healthy first and then exercising, because getting completely healthy may not even happen.
Right.
We've cleared that hurdle. What do you see as the biggest challenge for, say, the next 5 to 10 years faced by professionals that want to work in the medical fitness space? And then this will be my last question, then we'll start turning it over to the questions from the audience.
All right. Well, I'm going to take the liberty of going through a tangent. When you say the biggest obstacle in the next 5 years, it's the same obstacle that I've faced for 25 years. And it's that our industry is not licensed and regulated, like massage therapy and physical therapists. So when a doctor or a consumer goes to a physical therapist, for example, they know they went to the university, they got a certain amount of education, and they're licensed in their state and so forth. Unfortunately, in our industry, it's the wild, wild west. Anybody can call themselves a personal trainer. If you have some muscles and you work out, then you could be a personal trainer. And, when I started 25 years ago, I think there was only a couple females at my gym. It was mostly bodybuilders and men. So I think gaining their respect, and how I did that was through my education, not just UC Irvine, but all my specialty certificate programs. So as I went through those and I became an arthritis exercise specialist, let's say, and I had that on my resume, people identified with, oh, she knows arthritis. Whereas, if there's a lot of continuing education that we could do that the consumer can't relate to, or they don't understand what that is. But if you take courses that they can understand what that probably can do for them, they're interested, and it lends to your respect and credibility to the medical community, your education. So I think the biggest hurdle we need to go through, I don't think in my lifetime I'm going to see licensing and regulation in our industry globally. I don't see that happening. If it does, hooray. But what we can continue to do is educate ourselves and take courses to go out and in your community. Because I'll venture a guess that you'll probably be the first one in your community to be, a osteoporosis fitness specialist or an Alzheimer's fitness specialist. And that's going to separate you from all the other trainers out there, whether they're on Instagram or social media. And again, to your, nearly fit, that's not who's going to hire you. I mean, if you look at your avatar, I'll use that word, it's used frequently. Who is your avatar? To be honest, it's someone that can afford you. I'm like a car payment to someone if they train 2 to 3 times a week. And so it's probably someone who's established professionally, maybe in their 40s or 50s. And people in their 40s and 50s start getting stuff. They do. I was diagnosed with invasive breast cancer last summer, and I'll table that for a moment and come back to it. So, I mean, it could happen to anybody. And so when that happens, I hope we all know, exercise as medicine is medicine. It can help prevent, slow the progression of, reverse. Exercise can reverse type 2 diabetes, for example. And I know we had a webinar on the anti-obesity drugs and how exercise is an important component. It's not just taking the pills, it's the exercise. So, our biggest challenge is you guys got to keep educating yourselves. Take a course. We have a conference coming up. I'm sure you'll ask me that. And see what your community has. What does your family have? What are you interested in? And go help people. That's what we're meant to do as fitness professionals. We probably spend more time with our clients than they do with their doctor. And they talk to us, they ask us questions, and hopefully you have enough education that you can help guide them in a direction.
Cool. I'm going to throw in one, I guess, not necessarily counterpoint, but I think the biggest challenge might be on the public side of things rather than the professional side of things. Because of our work here at the MedFit Education Foundation, I see the number of people we get on the webinars, and we have had a positive effect on pushing the industry towards getting more educated. What I see, because most times if I talk to someone who's not a client yet, they're asking me about something they saw from a fitness influencer. I think the challenge is steering the public's attention away from, if they have a fitness question, now the first place they will look is social media, and who they're going to find is probably not educated. So I don't know that the professionals are the biggest concern in that equation. I think the public's attention has to be somehow diverted away from looking for solutions through social media, instead of going and finding a competent, quality, educated professional. But again, that's a topic for a different day. Let me get to some of the
Well, I
questions.
mean, I agree, but I guess I was addressing, what can you do as a fitness professional?
Right.
Um, and, to just, I had a Facebook page, and I posted, articles and stuff, and a LinkedIn page, and I still do those things, but I always post them from credible sources, and it comes from me. And, I get a lot of referrals because of my education. But,
Yeah.
Anyways, what other questions do you have for me, or does anybody have?
Yeah, here's a good question from Michael, and it's kind of relevant to your answer to my previous question. Michael's asking, has the lack of licensure in the profession hindered the advancement of the profession, and have medical fitness centers grown in recent years? I know you have a single location. Maybe you can talk about some of your challenges and successes in the last couple of years running an actual fitness center that has a focus on medical fitness. So yeah, I guess he's asking those two questions. Has the lack of licensure in the profession hindered the advancement of the profession, and are you seeing growth in medical fitness centers in recent years?
All right. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think so. I think if we had a license that a career path that the medical community, the allied healthcare community, and the public understood what our education was and what we do, I think it would be the road would be easier along the way.
Hmm.
So I just don't give up. And so I know it was a hard path. And just before we got online, I said to you, I feel like I've been pushing a boulder up a hill for 25 years. And, I just don't give up. I'm my father's daughter. And so I don't give
For
up.
you.
So as far as medical fitness centers, so something that was a dream of mine was to have my own place. And it just never came to reality for a bunch of different reasons. It doesn't matter. And when the pandemic hit, I felt like that was the end of my personal training career, and that maybe in my next life I'd have my own space. And I was very fortunate to have a family, the Borland family, I'll say their names, that have followed my career and have helped my foundation. They reached out to me, I think it was November 23, and asked if I was free for a phone call that evening. And there's someone that always donated to me. And I thought, wow, why are they asking me for a phone call? Am I in trouble? And so I was really nervous to do this phone call with them. And on the phone call, they said, we want to make your dream come true. And we're going to give you $3 million to buy a building and renovate it and get fitness equipment
That's incredible.
and opened the first standalone medical fitness center in Orange County, meaning it's not attached to a hospital. And I just can't believe that someone called me up. I think I was in shock for 2 hours. I'm still, when I talk about it, like, who
Yeah.
calls someone up and does that? So,
Yeah.
anyways, I dove in, I got to it, I found a building. And it was still towards the end of the pandemic, and so it was really hard to find work to come and renovate it. And I remember reaching out to different contractors saying, I need to demo half the building. I want to make it a gym. And most of them said, well, they'll get back to me in like 3 months. And I was like, what? I have money. But no one there, everything was at a halt still. But I managed to find some workers. We started renovating the building, half fitness, half allied healthcare professionals, buying fitness equipment. And I think it took me about 6 to 8 months to get it all together. And then I start reaching out through NASM's job board and through ISSA to try to find trainers. And, in my area, there's not a lot that already possess my education. So I would get these trainers and I would encourage them to take courses from the foundation and specialize. And then we start marketing to the community. I put door hangers. I walked around, 5 mile circumference of my building, putting door hangers on. And this is towards the end of the pandemic. And people would see me walking with my white shepherd, and they're like, wow, that's old school marketing. And I said, well, that's what my dad said. Go out in the community and meet people. And that's how I started the centers. I went out in the community and I met people by putting door hangers on there. And of course, we sent emails, and the usual stuff that we do today. But I'm still old fashioned that way. And I started to reach out to different doctors in the area, physical therapists, let them know we're open. I have 2 doctors of physical therapy at the center. I have acupuncturists, trainers, and we do community events. They're free educational events. And, I'd like to do even like more workshops, even maybe workshops for trainers there. So it's the MedFit Training and Education Center, and we can host an event with I think 75 people theater style and 50 classroom style, because
Mhm.
that was really important to me when I got this building. And sorry, the sun's coming in. I'm going to be backlit here uh, to do education as well. So, you got to get out there and do it. And that's what I do.
All right. Excellent. Thanks for sharing that background story. I'm sure Michael appreciated that. He just commented on that. Mark has a question. Mark, the same person who did our anti-obesity webinar just a couple of weeks back. So if any of you are a member of MedFit TV or already a member of the MedFit Network, you can go look that up and pull up the replay. His question is, what do you see in the future of medical fitness and the ability to get quote unquote proper respect from the other healthcare professionals? And do you think academic institutions like UCI will get on board to medical fitness? I'm assuming you know what UCI is. I'm assuming it's some kind of like
UC,
local.
yeah, it's UC Irvine, where I went to
Okay.
school.
Oh, okay. Very good.
So, hi, Mark. So, back when I started the MedFit Network, I did go to UC Irvine to see if they would create online medical fitness courses. This is back in 2013, with the registry hosting those who took the courses so the public can find them. And it was really challenging because it seems like they wanted to have meetings to talk about the meetings. So if there's anybody here from universities, you can get upset with me, or you can nod and go, yeah, that's how it goes. Um, I have thought about going back to them now that this project's grown so much and I'm in their backyard and it's rooted with them, to see if they would be interested in maybe creating a medical fitness specialist program. Maybe it's a 2-year program, or maybe it's a 3-year program. There's different programs at university, exercise science, physiology, and so forth, but there's really no career path for those students. A lot of them, I think, get lost or end up in another career path. So it'd be really great if we had one that would gain respect, of course, if there was something at a university or college with that. And you know, I'm just going to keep pushing forward. Our thing is going to change. Gosh, I don't have a crystal ball, but I know if we stop, then for sure it won't. So I think it's just all of us banding together. We're stronger as a collection versus in our independent silos. And that's one of the important things of this project to me, was always trying to bring people together in collaboration, because we're stronger if we're united. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to trying to do that.
Yeah. I think for many people, it's just like, I see it as very similar to how it used to be extremely difficult to get women to do resistance training because they didn't want to bulk up and look like a linebacker. Well, then it just kind of, you hammer away at that. And now most women, I don't get that same level of resistance I was getting 20 years ago to resistance training. You just kind of have to keep hammering away at it. But I think the public, they still kind of think if I have certain conditions, then I can't do fitness, because fitness, if you say the word fitness, the image that pops into most people's heads is something that most normal people can't do. And so I think as that slowly changes, we'll probably see more of those barriers come down. But I think it just takes decades to have people's word association with fitness change away from something that's intimidating and scary towards something that seems approachable, even if you're just a normal person that has some medical conditions. I have a question here from James too. He says that we have 3 fitness centers as part of the largest community health system in Central Florida, but we struggle for commitment to medical fitness. How do we get buy-in from the system, from the community health system in Florida?
I'm going to guess maybe you're meaning the medical community to refer. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know the
Okay, I don't
specifics.
know if he's answering. Um, I had a space for like open houses at my facility. I don't know if you do. And I would have an open house and invite them in to the center and have them tour it and meet us. And I have a brochure on the center that lists, all the conditions we work with and the education and everything. And so I think having that outreach and inviting them in the evening, for, appetizers and drinks, referring to them. I know for me, the first step is for me to refer to other people before I get referrals. And so it just seems like that's what it takes, and that's fine. I'll do that. So getting them to come in, getting your brochures, going out, introducing yourself. I'm still old fashioned, and I would still go to their office and see if you could leave a brochure rack or business cards or offer them something. Um,
He's
that's what
offering some. James has a little follow up too. He says that we have limited hospital foundation support for specific medical fitness programs and recently
I.
for exercise oncology, but it always feels like an uphill battle. It's surprising. It surprises him for a nonprofit community health organization. I guess it's surprising the amount of resistance that they get.
I, I, I'm not surprised, and
Surprised. Yeah, I figured you'd say
no,
that.
and that's sad. I know when hospitals have a medical fitness center, I feel like it's kind of a lost leader. They don't make money off of it, so I see it in my own community. That's why, to me, I wanted to stand apart from them. And with you being a not-for-profit, if you could do some, fundraisers or training scholarships, we were able to do that through a donation from the Borland family, where we would have people in the community fill out applications, and a business sponsor their fitness sessions. Now, they weren't paying 100% of the retail rate. It was a discounted rate for this business, but they were able to help, whatever, 10 people through, training for 4 weeks. And it's sponsored by, Trader Joe's or Whole Foods Market. So because you're a not-for-profit, I would reach out to see if they'd like to do a feel-good community project where they sponsor some fitness programs and then have applications for that, and see if you can get some people in that way.
Okay. All right, we're going to get back to a question from me for you. So have to ask. There's always people that are high achievers and doing lots of things. So you opened the MedFit Center in 2023. You were dealing with some devastating personal news with your own cancer diagnosis, and so you decided to put on a global virtual medical fitness conference and take on that task. So why in the world would you do something that difficult? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Uh, oh, that's a good question. So, as I mentioned earlier, last summer, I was in July, I got diagnosed with invasive breast cancer, and my physical in May was great. My internist says, "Wow, you're thriving at 60. All your labs look great." And I just felt so happy that I was doing everything right. And then the mammogram. And I was so shocked, and I was mad. I was mad
Of
because
course.
I've been doing everything right. And then I think I was in shock. And then I was sad. I mean, I think it's all the steps of, like, death or whatever. I went through all these feelings. And it was really tough because I had a rare cancer. Most women get ductal incarcinoma, which means you get a lump in your milk duct. And mine was a lobular cancer, and it forms a net. So it's a bunch of cells holding hands, creating a linear pattern, and it was outside of my milk duct. And because of the nature of the cancer, and they also tested, it wasn't responsive to chemo. And one of my colleagues, Dan McKeska, said, of course, if you're going to get a cancer, you're going to get a rare invasive cancer that doesn't respond to chemo and beat it, because that's who you are. Thank you, Dan. You made me laugh when you sent that to me. Uh, so anyways, the goal was to get it out of me so it wouldn't spread. And then, I did genetic testing. And as I mentioned, my dad had cancer 4 times. So I actually got a gene from my dad for breast and colon cancer. I didn't know you can get that paternal gene for breast cancer. So it's called CHEK2. So anyways, because I had that, and I have they did a lab test that I had a high circulating cancer cell count when they went in for the surgery. And for months after the surgery, my circulating cancer cell count did not go down. It just wouldn't go down. and usually it goes down after surgery. So they went on a hunt to see where else do I possibly have cancer. So because of my gene, we rolled out colon cancer, ovarian, uterine cancer. And by this time, I think it was April of this year. And to be honest with you, even though I'm tough and I don't quit, I was spiritually and emotionally drained. I just I had panic attacks. I've never I've never had a panic attack. I was really low, and so I went on a trip out to a place called Murrieta. It's a city out here in California. I stayed at a ranch, and about a quarter mile from this ranch was a horse sanctuary. And I would go there every day. A doctor in Oceanside, California owns it, and 40 acres. He takes in any horses, no questions asked, and he cares for them for the rest of their life in pasture. And so I would go there every day and spend time with the horses, and I'd feel good. And then it came back to more tests, and I go back, and then finally I asked to take a break from all these tests. I said I really need 60 days off. And during that time, I was thinking, okay, what, what do I get to live this year? Is it going to come back? How long do I got? What's important? What do I want to do? This legacy and this project's always been really important to me. And I wanted to see it become everything it should. So I reached out to Josh Levy, who lost his father to cancer. And he's been doing the Succeed events since, I don't know, 22, 21, when the pandemic hit. And I reached out to him and I said, I want to work with you and I want to create a virtual event in medical fitness. And I want something positive to focus on. I want something to be excited about while I'm going through this. I want something to feel happy. And I said, let's make it global. Let's invite all the countries of the world, because we're having a global health crisis. It's not just in the United States, it's everywhere in the world. Matter of fact, I read, and I said this to you before we started, that by the year 2030, there's going to be 1 billion obese people in the world. And I think everybody listening knows all the things attached to that, as far as, hypertension and cardiovascular disease and diabetes. It's just the world's getting sicker, and we don't have the health care in place to handle this load. And so I said to Josh, let's do this. And I said, but I need for the next 60 days, I need to take some time and try to heal before I start this up again. And I need you to do all the heavy lifting for me. I'll tell you what I want to do, and I just need you to do everything. And so Josh and I have been working, and the website went live, I think, last week. And we started to reach out to different countries, as I mentioned to you. And I was really excited to have Europe Active join. They represent a lot of countries in Europe. And so I think we have 100 speakers. I was amazed at when I did a shout out who would like to speak at this event. It was amazing. What companies would like to support it and sponsor this event. It was amazing. And even around the world, all the countries that want to air this conference in their country. So this is the first event of its kind in the world in fitness. And I'm really excited. It just gives me something to keep going. And so that's October 22 through 26. And by the way, everybody, I had my 1-year diagnostic mammogram and ultrasound on Friday, and no evidence of breast cancer. And this week on Thursday, I get my circulating cancer cell test to see what that is. And I'm just going to keep going. I want to be happy every day. I've taken up horseback riding, and I do lessons twice a week. And I may even lease or buy a horse because it makes me happy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for you that you're taking some time to do something that you enjoy, that grounds you with animals and nature and stuff too. I'm going to put up some information for everyone here for you about the conference. So let's just show you some details on that. So you've heard Lisa talk about it a bit. It's coming up in October, and there's there's the info for you. Just fbasucceed.com/medfit, and then you can save 25% by using the code medfit. And so I'm going to jump over to the questions panel in just a moment too, but I'll give you a moment. I'll see if there's anything else new popped up in there. We'll give you a moment to make note of that information on the global virtual conference. I'm doing a few sessions. We've got a lot of speakers lined up, some good stuff starting to come in. It's a virtual conference, so it's way cheaper than a in-person conference, but the quality of the education is the same, and
Yep.
in fact, maybe even greater because there's potentially more speakers involved because
Oh, yeah.
the barrier to entry for speaking is very easy because all we have to do is stay home and record our sessions and send them in. We don't have to get on airplanes. So
Right.
okay, and so I'm going to pull up now also because we've been talking about the Education Foundation itself. We're going to look at our entire library of courses, and just if you're curious, if you haven't looked at our specialist courses before that um, Lisa has pulled under the umbrella of the Education Foundation, which is found in medfitclassroom.org as far as the consumer side of it, where you would purchase courses. This is the list of courses that we currently offer. And these are all specialist courses. So what this means is there's at least 10 hours of education. You do a fairly deep dive into the topic and also how to approach fitness while you're helping someone navigate those conditions as well. We do have a cancer fitness specialist coming soon as well. That's in the works right now. And so this is the full list of courses. Again, you can just go to medfitclassroom.org and look at them again. But we also have available for you a discount on that as well on any of those courses. So any single one of those courses, this is almost just as good as the Black Friday sale. We got 40% off all of our courses through August 15th. That's using the exact same code that you can use to save 25% on the Global Virtual Medical Fitness Conference, which is just MedFit, capital letters, just MedFit, same discount code. And if you're scrambling to write this down, don't worry. I've put it in the follow-up text of the email that you'll get several hours after the conclusion of today's webinar. And then here's that little promo there for you. Just one more time, just if you need a chance to write it down, just take a chance to do that. I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And the MedFit Network, which you heard Lisa talk about, was the genesis of the entire MedFit, I guess, ecosystem. And this is a referral network for you. If you are a fitness professional and you would like to get referrals from people in your area, it's searchable by zip code in the US. So what people will do is if they need help with osteoporosis, they'll put in a search for someone who has skills in osteoporosis and their zip code, and they'll find you if that's you. So just be sure to take advantage of this because we get returned very high in the search results when someone's looking for medical fitness because we get a Google AdWord grant that puts us up very high in the search results. So everyone's going to be more likely to find you because they're more likely to find us when they're looking for help with medical fitness. So if you are a professional, you're not already a member, be sure to take advantage of that. It's medfitnetwork.org, and you can see there's a trial offer down there as well, medfitnetwork.org/trial. And we also have a mentorship program, which
Good.
includes
I was hoping you were going to mention that. Yep.
yeah, well, this is something that's always been near and dear to my heart because and you got 2 out of the 3 mentors that are involved in our program on today. The other one Lisa mentioned, which is Dan McKeska, and essentially we want to help fitness professionals that are a little bit earlier in their careers, maybe avoid some of the roadblocks and speed bumps, or at least get over them a little more easily than we did. And that's really what the origin of this mentorship program is. And so it's really designed to be one-on-one. It's not like a lot of the group mentorship programs that you might find out there. It's one-on-one. It's very affordable. It's a lot cheaper than a lot of the commercially available mentorship programs. And for instance, someone that Lisa mentioned earlier, Phil Kaplan, I was in his mentoring program very early in my career, and he was instrumental in helping me a lot too. So I definitely have firsthand been on the other side of seeing the value of mentoring, and also it's great to be in a position to now be able to offer it. And so if you're interested in that, getting some one-on-one help from any of us 3, you can go to medfitnetwork.org/mentorship program. All right, let me just leave that up for a moment. I'm going to jump back in and see what's awaiting us in the questions panel. Here we go. Okay. Cicino is asking, this is more of a, I guess, a recommendation for a diagnostic for you. Have you considered using thermography and ultrasound instead of mammography?
Yes. And also, Oh my God, there's another type of ultrasound, and it's escaping me right now. But yes, I am doing that. I declined radiation because the cancer was in my left breast. And from the research I did in my cardiologist, I also have a heart condition. He said that there was no way that they could miss my heart radiating my breast. And so I'm pursuing cancer as my own journey and making my own health choices as we all do. And but thank you for your comment.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm going to advance us to our promo for our upcoming webinar 2 weeks from today. We've got Pat Marquez and Grove Higgins back with us. These guys are
Awesome.
outstanding presenters. Their topic is It Starts in the Feet, How Foot Performance Affects Everything. All you have to do is just go to medfitclassroom.org, and at the top you'll see a menu that says Online Education. Hover over that, and you'll see a drop down to our 2025 webinars. So be sure to sign up for that one or any of the other ones we have coming up for the remainder of this year. And you can access all of our past webinars at medfittv.org. Now, this is included for free as part of a MedFit Network subscription. So if you're a member of MedFit Network, then you'll have that included. If you are not interested, but you want to access the past webinars, you can do that at medfittv.org, which is available as either a monthly or an annual subscription. And all this stuff that we're talking about here today not just educates you, but it helps support our mission of promoting and educating fitness professionals with medical fitness. So just want to give you a window into where it all goes. As you heard Lisa talk about, she's not doing this for the money. And we talked about MedFit Network earlier, but here's a very cool photo to just get you more excited about joining that if you're not already a member. Let me jump back in and see if there's any last questions for us in the questions panel. Okay, looks like, okay, we've covered them all. We'll just give it another moment and see
Yeah.
if anybody has one that's occurred to them. Anything you'd like to ask Lisa about, or maybe even me if you want, but mostly for Lisa. We'll see if anything drops in there. And otherwise, Lisa, is there anything that you're most excited about, or is there a certain client you're working with you've got an exciting, positive, happy story to tell us about?
Well, just most excited about. I'm excited about this project, and I've been at it for I don't know since 2013. 12 plus years, and I'm just as excited, if not more, than I was when I started it because it does keep growing. I know we've affected thousands of lives from the trainers that have joined the registry, the trainers that have gained this education, help people in the community. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I still work one-on-one with some people, I know that this project has the greatest or greater impact on many people, and so I'm really excited about it. And I'm also going to say, I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes with everybody before we part today. And I've had it hanging up on my wall the whole time. And it's from Wayne Gretzky, a hockey player. And he says, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." And that's something that's always inspired me to just try and don't give up. And even though I'm going through a cancer diagnosis, I'm still excited. I still want to help people. I still think this project's important, and just keep a positive attitude. Um, that's how I'd like to, I guess, part ways today.
Great. That's a great thought to close on. It looks like we're done with the questions. And I guess a little bit of an expansion on how people can think about your Wayne Gretzky quote. It's a great quote, but he had 893 goals. He was just passed by Alex Ovechkin, I know, for the most goals in NHL history. But if you think he had 893 goals, how many misses did he have? Like if he had that many goals, how many shots did he have that didn't go in? Probably upwards of, if you know anything about hockey, he probably took maybe 7 to 8,000 shots. And so to have, like a 10% shot rate, oh no, that's failure. But no, that's how you get the most goals in NHL history is by taking lots of shots. So it's thankful. We're thankful that you reminded us all of that we don't make any goals or do anything great unless we take the risk of taking the shot in the first place. So that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for giving us the gift of your time, attention, and energy. And thanks to Lisa for opening up her story, both personal and professional, to all of us as well. We'll hope to see you on another webinar soon. Just go to medfitclassroom.org. And again, just hover over that online education menu at the top until you see 2025 webinars. You can sign up for any of our upcoming webinars and be sure to take advantage of the discount we have there for you for the Global Virtual Medical Fitness Conference coming up in October. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye for now.